All right, what's going on, everybody? Today's video, we're doing a side-by-side comparison of the factory Challenger door panels with the new Reproduction injection molded ones, both the front and the rear. We're going to focus on the front first. Now, if you notice, of course, the color is a bit different between the two, and that's not the fault of this door panel for the Reproduction. That is the fault of my original one that I've got, as I did dye it a little over 10 plus years ago. But as you can see here on the edge, the dye, of course, is wearing off, so you can see how the actual colors compare, and side by side the color looks pretty spot on between the Reproduction injection molded unit and the original OEM unit. And overall, I'm really happy with the look and the shape and the size. Everything looks really good. Talking to Mike Ross at BEA Parts, he said that in the corners of the door panels for the Challengers, they are a little thicker than the original ones, and the original ones were already too thick and had a tendency to crack. So we're gonna find out for sure when we go and install them in the car how much material we need to remove on the inside of the corners to be able to make sure that they fit properly. But we'll go ahead and do that in a later video when we go and actually install them in the car. We can't install them right now because I haven't done the power window conversion yet, and the power window switches come out in a different location than the manual cranks do, so we can't actually test fit the door panels yet. But that's the reason, from what I've heard, is there is a little bit of extra material. You just need to go in there, trim it up with a Dremel a little bit. You'll never notice it once it's actually installed in the car. But from there, looking at the grain side by side, the grain looks really good between the two. I'm sure there's probably some bit of a difference between the two, and if you're making a 100-point show car, concourse car, there may not work, but from what I can tell from what my eyesight is, the grain is really good. All the components fit, the armrests, the inserts, everything seems to fit. When I was talking to Mike, he did mention that the inserts may need some trim, the panel may need a little bit of trimming to get the insert to fit properly, but when I did a test fit on here, the insert went in just fine. So that's what the front of these look like. All the main features, all the design elements, everything is spot on between the two from what I can see, and I'm extremely happy with these. Definitely a lot better than the Palco units that have been on the market forever, which are vacuum formed because the shape's wrong, the grain is way wrong. For a while they worked when these weren't available on the market, but now these are available. These are definitely the way to go. I really can't emphasize how great of a product these are. I ordered these from Year One. There are a variety of suppliers that carry them that you can get them from, but they were having a sale, so that's who I ordered them from. It did take a while to get the door panels they had pretty much in stock, so those only took a couple of weeks to arrive, but the quarters, they were out of stock and it took like 3 months to get, but that's just how the supply chain stuff goes. But overall, really happy with them, can't say that enough. Let's turn these around and take a look at the back side of them. All right, so the back side of the door panels is where the biggest differences are between the original OEM unit and the Reproduction injection molded unit. But the differences aren't really what matter that much because you can't actually see them. So all the main important features, all the mounting locations and things like that, those are all pretty much the same on both of them. The differences are where this one doesn't have the factory Mopar logo and part number on it, where of course the OEM one does. It has all the important markings for where you need to mark for your window crank or your power window switch, for a remote mirror. All of those key features are there, and those all look right. It's just the minor stuff on having the part numbers and things like that, which really don't make a big difference because you're never gonna see them. So that's enough with the door panels. Let's go ahead and change gears and look at the factory quarter panels. All right, so on the left here, as you can tell by how grungy and old it is, I tried to clean up, is my original interior panel that I had lying around. And then on the right is the new Reproduction injection molded unit. And once again, like the door panels, these are really, really close. The color, of course, is still spot on, and the grain just looks amazing. I'm really impressed with the grain. Of course, that was one of the biggest complaints with the Palco units that are vacuum formed, is the grain is just completely off. And of course, the fitment's just terrible. But beyond that, these units that are injection molded are absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to get them installed in the car. Now, if you notice, this one does have the provision for the roll-up crank. Now, that's not a big deal for those of you who have power windows because As you know, the power window switch on the rear quarters goes in the same location as the window crank. So you just have to trim it out, which is marked on the back. But all of the key features, all of the mounting screw locations, everything looks right on the new Reproduction units that are injection molded. So let's turn these around and compare the back side of these as well. All right, so now we've got to look at the back side of the original OEM door panel versus the Reproduction that's injection molded. And just like on the door panels, the quarter panel interior, they look spot on the back for the most part. The biggest difference, of course, once again, is the lack of the OEM Chrysler part number. But all the main features, everything else that really is important and critical, looks to be right or close enough that it's not going to make a difference. So for those of you out there that have been on the fence on whether or not to order these new injection molded parts, I definitely recommend you get off that fence and go ahead and order a set, because they are that good and worth going into your restoration if you have chalky or torn up door panels and quarter panels. All right, and that's about everything on my comparison of the injection molded Reproduction interior panels versus the OEM ones. I can't say enough good things about them. They're high quality, they look right, everything I hear, they fit right. We don't know that for sure yet because we haven't installed them in the car. You'll see that in a future video when I do the power window conversion, but I have no reason to believe that they're not gonna fit. For you convertible guys out there, unfortunately the quarter panels for you are not reproduced yet for the injection molded style. So you're either gonna have to reuse your originals, send your originals out to Just Dashes, and they end up putting a very thin vinyl layer over your interior panel, or go with the Palco vacuum formed units, which, as we all know, have terrible grain and fitment. So that's today's video, guys. I hope you found this information useful. As always, if you did, don't forget to smash that like button. It helps me determine what type of videos you guys like in the future. And of course, if you want to be kept up to date with all my future videos where we do product reviews like this, how-to videos on the cars, go to events, anything, everything automotive related that I do, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, so that way YouTube will keep you up to date with all my future videos. And on that note, guys, I will see you in the next video.